Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists physicians with employment contract issues. Today I'm going to talk about when should a resident receive a signing bonus, and the timing of it is important, and that's why I'm going to talk about this today. So when a resident is finishing up training, they've likely already signed an employment contract, or more importantly, when they're negotiating the employment contract, usually in their early PGY3 year, some PGY2, when they receive the signing bonus is important for a couple of factors. One, as a resident physician, they simply don't make a lot of money. And so if they're training in New York and they get a job in California, depending upon how large their family is, it could be a substantial amount of money to move all the way across country. Now, almost every employer that someone signs with as a resident is going to offer some kind of relocation assistance. So usually between $5,000 to $15,000. You won't see above $15,000 really as far as relocation assistance goes. So somewhere along there, they should pay for the entire amount, to be honest. And some people who are moving a short distance can also use the relocation assistance money for, let's say, travel to go back to the city to look for an apartment or a home. So, airline, lodging, all that kind of stuff. Some people are able to use that money to go towards either a security deposit or maybe, the first couple months rent. Most employers are fairly flexible, kind of what the physician can use that money for, but they want it to be housing related, or relocation related in some manner. Now, the timing of when you get paid is important. So usually the physician will be offered two different bonuses. One would be the relocation assistance, as I said before, somewhere between $5,000 to $15,000. And then they'll also be offered a signing bonus as well. That usually is paid out during their first pay period. So whenever they get paid first after they start with the employer, that's when they would receive the bonus. That's normally. There's obviously different ways of doing it. Now, most of the time an employer will say, unless it's like a big hospital network that has established relationships with moving companies, let's just say you're in private practice, then they'll basically say, pay your moving expenses, submit us the receipts, and then we'll reimburse you. Well, for some people, outlaying $10,000 to $15,000 to move is difficult, simply because, as I said before, you're not, a wealthy doctor when you're still in training. So what we do is, we kind of assess the situation for the physician, and then we determine, all right, is it helpful if you get this prior to moving? Obviously, how soon before you're done with training do you need the money? And so we can say to the employer, hey, look, it would really help us out, defray the cost of the move if we receive this prior to moving, or more importantly, maybe the employer would be willing to pay the amount directly to the moving company, and that way there's no outlay of cash by the physician, which is kind of the entire point of that. The bonus, the signing bonus, can also, the timing of when that's paid can be important as well. So depending upon the size of the signing bonus, sometimes we can say, all right, we would like half upon execution of the agreement. So when you sign the actual agreement and it's signed by both parties, that's called the execution of the agreement. And so many times we can say we'll get half upon signing, and then the other half, when they start. And then both of these bonuses are going to have some kind of repayment obligation tied to it. At least it normally would. So meaning, let's say the physician has a two-year initial term. The employer will state, if you leave before the 2-year initial term, you'll owe us some kind of prorated portion of the bonuses back. So it could be quarterly forgiveness, monthly forgiveness, yearly forgiveness. So let's say someone was given a $30,000 signing bonus, and then they say, all right, half of it is forgiven after the first year, and then the other half is forgiven after the second year. So if the physician left between the first and second years, they'd owe back $15,000. So the employer is insulated from the physician simply taking the bonuses early and then, kind of splitting out on the job by signing the agreement in advance. And then there being language in there that talks about the repayment obligations. So if the employer is kind of expressing concerns about that, and maybe they just simply don't utilize that would be a kind of a good way of saying, well, look, if you're concerned about me just taking the money and leaving, then let's put in these repayment obligations, and therefore, you're protected if I were to leave, and then I benefit by getting the money in advance. So that's kind of a discussion of when the resident should receive the signing bonus or relocation assistance. It's just dependent upon the situation. For some people, it's fine receiving it after the fact, but for others, it's really important to have it up front. So just some things to think about. If you have any questions, you can always contact my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can reach us through our website, ChelleLaw.com, CHELLE law.com. Again, my name is Robert Chelle. Appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.